Dying Light 2's parkour is inconsistent to say the least. It feels like you're one of those kids in the mall that just has those leashes around them. Usually it's like some sort of animal. Because you could go fast, but the problem is that every animation has its own set speed to it. Thus holds you back from going as fast as you can. But the thing is, when you're running normally, not doing anything crazy to speed yourself up, these animations and its own set speeds could just look normal, and it makes sense in a way because that's how they were meant to go together. Or if you're like the crackhead outside of my local 7-Eleven, then you like to go fast. And so you find the methods to move faster than usual. And that's when you can start noticing the flaws. To help you guys visualize said flaws, I installed Cheat Engine. And with Cheat Engine, you can see the velocity you have in real time. It's displayed under the value tab, and Aiden's default running speed is 6.0. Anything below 6 is slower, and anything above it is faster. Let's begin with zip lines. Going up a zip line, you don't go any faster than running, which makes sense because you're going against gravity, so that's alright. However, it's going down that's the problem. You don't accelerate at all going down a zip line, and it doesn't really matter if you use a booster to go on a zipline faster because at the end you just lose all of your momentum instantly. Jumping off a zipline is a joke when it comes to speed because that's the slowest way to dismount. Letting go early is just the same as reaching the end. So ziplines are really just a game of picking your poison. The grappling hook is up next. You can see me gaining a lot of momentum from falling, but the second I start swinging on my grappling hook, it instantly gets capped to 12. The monkey bars are one of the most obvious ones. Like, they don't even try to hide it. They're out for your blood and they want you to know it. I recommend just skipping them, it's a lot faster. The tilting pole is an interesting one because it carries your momentum. However, the second you dismount, you just lose it all instantly. The second I grabbed this rope, my momentum just spiked up to 28. With after boost, you can actually go faster than your usual running speed. However, the extra speed doesn't matter when you jump. Sliding is another joke. Even when I hold the button to move forward to go just a little slightly faster, it's still not any better. In this clip, I'm hanging on a monkey bar, not even swinging. But look what happens when I go in for an attack. You can even do it upwards, dude. The magnet is insane. With sliding, you go back on your default running speed before you even get back up. Sadly, in order to do a ledge swing, you need to grab the ledge first. Who would have thought, right? And since grabbing a ledge kills all of your momentum, for these next couple of clips, it's gonna have booster effects, so it's gonna be an eyesore to look at. Just a fair warning, if you can't handle it, the video is gonna have chapters so you can just skip it. You cannot carry momentum in Dying Light 2. The second I jump off this train, I don't carry any of its speed. In this clip, I combine the Rage booster with the Zoom 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 booster. Jumping and tackling slows me down remarkably. Vaulting and fire jumping slows me down too. The Rage booster by itself makes you faster as well, but tackling and fire jumping barely slows me down. Dying Light 2's parkour system also has this stupid hand-holding effect where you could get magnetized between some precise jumps. For a new player, this could be pretty useful. However, my issue is that you cannot turn this off in the settings. When you perform a roll, you won't fall off of anything. You could also wall run in mid-air for a couple seconds. And when running up a wall, there's a glitch that could occur where you just run up air instead. You also can't dodge when looking at a certain angle. Aussiegg made a video about this. The link will be in the description. Now, I managed to bring on some of your favorite Dying Light content creators, with their consent of course, because I wanted to know their opinion on Dying Light 2's parkour. Just listen to how happy they sound. It's not like I have a gun pointed to their head or anything. Nah, I would never do that.
Hey there, so first off, thank you so much Noviex for inviting me onto your channel. I'm going to quickly summarize my thoughts about the parkour in like 30 seconds or less. So I don't like how the parkour relies too heavily on animations. It feels like the game is trying to constrain you in a way, and it overall has this controlling feeling when you're going about and moving around in the world of Dying Light 2. When you went and played the original, you just felt more in control. You had a lot more freedom to do what you liked, where to go, and how to do it. Overall, the system in Dying Light 2, it just feels slightly off. It is much more complex than the original, but then it also falls short in other areas. Things that you could normally do in the original when it came to parkour, you can't do in the sequel. For example, certain skills and abilities that you could have done in Dying Light 1 are just not in Dying Light 2, so it's a downgrade in that area especially. But those are my thoughts summarized pretty quickly. Let's get back to it now.
For the most part, I really like the parkour in Dying Light 2. I think it's a step up from the first game, especially in the sense that you have so many more moves and combos that you can manually input, instead of just pressing one button and watching your character auto-climb. Overall, Dying Light 2 grants the player a greater sense of control in its movement system, aside from a few specific instances. Instances where animation takes priority over physics, as Aussiegg has a great video demonstrating. So the game kind of feels as though it contradicts itself in those moments where you, the player, are determining every little bit of movement, and then suddenly you kind of just have to sit back and watch an entire animation play out. It just kind of disrupts the flow.
Parkour in this game is an overall mixed bag. I appreciate the environmental interaction and more moves, but there are some problems and jank that arise when playing a lot. First of all, there's no air control, so I feel like you have less control and are unable to think on the fly as you're jumping and moving around as much, compared to DL1. There's also the weird case of step laddering, basically the mini vaults or pulls over obstacles that Aiden does. In DL1, there was a brief but noticeable animation and it flows well with the game. In DL2, you sort of just float to the top, and sometimes I find it hard to tell if I'm actually touching an object or floating in the air. It creates this weird sensation when playing, and sometimes I try to jump, it creates this weird sensation when playing. And then I jump up to here. Now if I do the same while dashing, this is what happens. So I'm dashing, I jump, and there's a grace period when you land on something where you can't jump again. It's really annoying. Mention that, Noviex. Mention that in your video.
Dying Light 2 parkour has some flaws. Well, being honest, I do enjoy parkour in Dying Light 2, but the parkour itself is not perfect and has some flaws. Like if you spend enough time doing parkour in the game, you would realize that most of the parkour move have its own speed. And because of that, most of the time it messes with the flow of parkour. For example, there are moments where I'm doing some crazy parkour and I'm maintaining a proper speed, but then I decided to grab something like a rope and do a swing. Well, when you leave the rope, you will realize that the whole momentum dies and you slow down and almost float for a second. It's the animation that slows you down every single time, and yes, every parkour move have its own speed and animation. That's why the parkour feels floaty at times. So, what can be done to fix this issue? Well, Techland needs to give more emphasis to physics than animation itself. If the physics played an important part, then most of the issues would be fixed on its own. So yeah, these are some of the flaws I wanted to mention in the video.
In an interview with Tymon, he explains why the parkour is, well, kind of the way it is.
So you process a lot of information about your surroundings. You are also fully aware of your body, of its limitations, so you combine those informations to decide what you want to do next. What's your next step?
And in the game?
Well, in the game is a little different because in the game, first of all, you are limited to what you see on the screen. So the field of view is different. You only see in front of you, and also your body awareness is not on the same level. So we had to do something to help players a little bit, to give them a little handicap. First of all, when you run, when you parkour in the game, you need that extra time to make the correct decision what you want to do next. And this is the main reason why some of the animations in our game last a little longer in the final moments of their sequence. This is also the reason why Aiden's, when he jumps, he stays in the air a little bit longer than a normal person would do. But this was very, very necessary for us, and this is very important for the experience because without it, it would be very hard to play, and to be honest, even hard to watch on the screen.
Hard to watch on the screen, but why?
Exactly, I said that. And, simply speaking, and I will be brutal here, you could feel dizzy and you could feel motion sickness, and we had this issue with a small faction of our players from Dying Light 1, so we have doubled up on methods to make sure the game will be comfortable to play for everyone.
The parkour is floaty in order to give players extra time to think and to reduce motion sickness. Now when I first heard this, I called bullshit on it and I thought it was stupid. Well now, I still fucking think that. Listen, this genuinely just pisses me off to hear it, I'm gonna be honest. Not the motion sickness part, I mean I could get that, and Techland has already done things to fix that. It's the floatiness. The whole point of just giving players more time to think, like we don't need that, we never did. In Dying Light 1 we were fine just without it. And if you couldn't think in time, then that's your own fault, you learn from it. That's the charm of it, fast-paced parkour, you're in control, you gotta think fast. That's where the adrenaline and fun came from, that's what we love Dying Light for. And I've played Dying Light 2 with stronger gravity, and it just feels right. It feels like it was meant to be like that. Maybe some parts may be hard to do with stronger gravity compared to normal, but like I said earlier, this is where you learn from it. Quick little editor's note, I recently beat Bloody Ties with a stronger gravity mod, and while at level 1, there are some very intense moments. I will admit that it's a lot more fun that way, but this makes me think that Techland has considered making the gravity stronger. They're just maybe hesitant on something. And to see it just getting absolutely fucking nerfed in Dying Light 2, it disappoints me. It pisses me off to think about. And I hope to God they fix it, because I feel like Dying Light 2 just holds back from many punches. So now I feel like we discussed all of the major problems with Dying Light 2's parkour system. Now here are my solutions. Listen, if it's possible in any way, uncap the movement system in every parkour move. Make the gravity stronger, we don't need that time to think. Add more animations. Make the player have more air control. Making the player have more air control could also be a substitute for the whole time to think thing. Here's what the game would look like with better air control. Big thanks to Fear for the mod. Allow the player to carry momentum. This is literally possible in Dying Light 1, but not in the second one. And prioritize physics more than animations. Anyways, those are my solutions. If you want to add on to anything, put them down in the comments. Thank you everyone who was involved in this video, and let's see if Techland fixes the parkour.